Just whenever you want.
Okay. So the physics of martial arts can be kind of broken down into two primary approaches. One is a little bit more based on developing the musculature of the body and accelerating something to a point in a pretty Newtonian fashion. And if my lovely assistant here could hold up a pad, I will illustrate what I'm talking about. So imagine for a minute, I have very skinny legs, but imagine if I had big, strong legs, and I wanted to move something, create some force. I want to wind up, make this leg really strong, and kind of do one of these, right? You kind of see this kind of action where I have to accelerate a lot. I have to get a lot of acceleration because the mass that I'm moving is not very heavy. It's just my leg, and legs don't really weigh that much. The other approach, which is the one I demonstrated earlier, is more about whole body power, where instead of just building up one part of the body, or simply accelerating something, I'm going to actually increase the mass that I'm moving by integrating everything all at once in my body, to allow everything to move all at once. And this involves the relaxation and allowing the force to flow through my body, so now there's a cumulative effect. So when I move, it's much more forceful. And without hitting, I can demonstrate too. So if I was just accelerating, and I have this kind of action here, you can keep very strong with that, theoretically, but you really have to build it up, and it's kind of perishable. The way we teach here is more about simply relaxing and allowing the body's structure to kind of do the work for you. And you have this very gentle reaction on the body that is just allowing the motion to happen. And so if you want to talk a little bit more about the anatomical components to this.
Well, as he was mentioning, as Aaron was mentioning just a little bit ago, it's isolating specific parts of your body. Oh, using just the leg versus using the entirety of the body. The analogy I like to work with that is being hit by a train. A train has enormous mass, and it's going to liquefy you if it's moving at 10 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour, just because it has all of that mass moving through space. Now, with the body, we have our skeleton, and that gives us our support. Those are your levers. But then you have the connective tissue that attaches your muscles to the skeleton. The muscles, they contract, they let you do this. You have tendons that tie those muscles to the skeleton. Now, each of those joints allows you a little bit of mechanical advantage. So you have your elbow, that gives you some advantage. You have your shoulder, that gives you some advantage. Your wrist, a little bit. Now, the typically external styles of arts, you're just kind of thinking, okay, I'm going to use this, then this, and boom, boom, just using this one part. What he was mentioning a little bit ago is trying to incorporate the entire body, and so we have this additive effect. So it's not just, okay, this joint will give you a certain advantage, and then this joint will give you a certain advantage, and this one individually. What you can do is, if you synchronize those, if you coordinate those, you get an effect, an outcome, which is greater than any of them individually, also greater than any of them as just a basic sum. There's an additive effect. You get a greater effect than just simply adding them up. So it's a cumulative effect, it's an additive effect, linking the entire body up into a coil, into a spring-like structure, loading that, and then releasing that, creating a coil, a spiral, an integrated structure.
Yeah, and an easy way to kind of visualize this too is that for the first method, the external method we're talking about, if you remove the speed, it is naturally going to be a lot weaker. So if you just hold up my pad, so if I'm like throwing a punch and I need to accelerate, I have this kind of thing like this. There's speed there. It's very light though, so I have to really move very fast to kind of generate the amount of force I want. But if I do the internal method, I can go slowly because I actually have a lot behind me. That's what I was talking about. This is the train. This is the very heavy train liquefying things. And it's why you don't need a lot of fast twitch muscle development to make that happen. It takes a lot of extra work to get to that, but the benefits are generally a lot more consistent and a lot more long-term.
And actually, we can talk about this, you can see the effects, but to really understand it, it's better to actually feel it. So if I could have some volunteers, we're not going to hurt you. And so what you do, you can either hold the pad like this above, or personally I like to change right and support it this way, entirely your choice, and just hold your body to minimize any sort of bumping. And so if you feel
I'm
the
going to
two
be very
differences
gentle.
between simple, just your body.
One piece of advice, lengthen your stance right now, just put one foot behind the other, just so you have a little bit of stability. And so what I was talking about before, and I'm not going to hit you very hard, is if I'm going like this, a leg is very heavy, if I go fast, you're going to feel it, and you're going to feel it there. But if I integrate the whole body, it's very gentle, right? What I'm doing is gentle, not to you. But you see, right here, and what am I doing? It's not a magic trick, right? It is just like if you stomp on a bug that's like really gross. So what I've done is I've spent a lot of my childhood with my dad yelling at me to get me to do this a lot. And so you can even do it. I'll show you, watch. So, take your knee up like this, and think about what your hip is doing when you go on the ground like this. And you feel your body, it's kind of a little dance move, right? And then now, instead of that, do this. This feels a lot lighter, right? It's easier to do. So if I so you can flip your leg and just try to hit this. It's not much. But now, do the stomp.
On that?
Yeah, just stomp it straight forward. And it's a lot heavier, right? You're a master. That's all it's like. But you can, it's very easy to feel the difference. It takes a long time to develop it, to use it very well, but at least this isn't magic. This isn't some mystic thing. It's never been anything mystical. It's just, sometimes people aren't very good at describing it. But luckily, there's a lot of nerds these days. You think about that? Do you guys have any other questions?
Grace, do you have any?
I was just wondering if, like, mathematically, when you're like doing it, what equation, if you know any equations like that would be used, like F equals ma, does that apply?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so the mass and acceleration. The acceleration is that F equals ma is the best one to think about. It gets very complicated when you start getting into like whole body mechanics, but the best way to do it is when you break a board, that board doesn't care what kind of force you're using, right? It doesn't matter. I could just get a running start, jump off a bike, and just headbutt it, and that's I have more acceleration, right? So when you're developing this, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying about you can go slowly and still have force. It's you think, okay, well, if the F requirement is always the same, what am I putting into that to make it go? So if I don't have a lot of mass going into my move, I need to go a lot faster. I need to accelerate faster. How do I develop that acceleration? Or you can go, well, I don't really want to accelerate any more than I can, or maybe I can't. Because like the human body can only move so fast too, right? You can't, you liquefy your bones if you went super fast. So you go, okay, well, how do I increase the mass? And the increase in the mass is the tricky kung fu part, which is developing that structure to use the entire weight of the body. Like I was just showing you, that's just a stomp. You're using more of your weight. There's more mass behind the contact point. And so every martial artist who does any kind of striking, even if they're not thinking about that equation literally, that is the mental math they're always doing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like, we were just learning about that.
Oh, great.
So like that makes a lot of sense.
And so, and then there's all kinds of really fun stuff with, God, I should have brought a book. So like, I teach Subat, it's a Korean martial art, and it was kind of revived in the 50s and 60s by a guy named Hong Ki, who was very mathematically meticulous about the physics of it, and a lot of the books are in Korean, but they're really great, and they're just diagrams of like, this is how much, look at this. We have our biologist here. he knows what's up.
But not particularly, but I can generally fake it.
Yeah.
But as you were saying about, okay, these lever systems and how it relates to a full body mass. I mean, if you're just moving this, all right, you have a couple levers and you have the mass of the arm. If you're just kicking with this, all right, it's flicking, you have the one lever and you have just the mass of the lower limb right here. But as he was demonstrating, okay, what if you can use the entire hip, all of these flexions, the adductors, the iliopsoas, all this, and then you can also grab the ground with your foot. Okay, so now you're able to use the ankle as one of those amplifying levers. You're able to use the extension of the knee, the extension of this hip, drawing through. You're using this joint as well, this joint, each of these levers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levers as opposed to 2 levers to create force. Also, you're incorporating more mass instead of just flick, flick, flick. Now you're using the mass of this leg, the mass of all of the abdomen, of the abdomen. Like this is a lot of mass in your body. This is the center of mass of your body, and you're now able to start rolling this, throwing this, projecting this forward, adding to that force, which is now being extended and sent out through that limb, that lever series.
The unbendable arm is another way to show it.
Yeah. Go
So
for it.
this is a great little trick you guys can do immediately too. Would anyone like to be my assistant for this?
Grace?
Go for
Okay,
it. Okay.
yes.
So this is going to feel like a weird magic trick, but this is a way for you to kind of overpower anyone.